Hey guys, it's Lily. Thank you so much for tuning into my channel again this week. I'm back from having a cold. That's why I took last weekend off. I had a cold for almost 2 weeks, which was absolutely terrible. I mean, it was the worst cold I had in a very long time. So I definitely needed to take last Sunday off. But luckily, I was feeling well enough to go do the plant sale that I had scheduled for today. It's the plant sale that Rick and I do every few weeks in Valrico, which is about 40 to 45 minutes away from St. Pete. It's like an outdoor plant market that they do in Valrico that has like 15 different plant vendors. There's vendors that sell anything from orchids to hibiscus to roses, aeroids. There's quite a lot of vendors, and it's a really nice time every time we go. We had great weather today, and so we were really lucky that we didn't get rained out or anything. But of course, I had to come home with some Hoyas. I've been trying to be good and not add so much to my collection because I'm obviously running out of room and I don't want to overwhelm myself. But I couldn't pass these up. I got a couple of cuttings, and I got a new prop. So first I got this cutting from my friend Mandy. It is a Hoya New Guinea Ghost. I'm actually very surprised that I didn't have this Hoya up until now, and to be honest, the only reason I didn't have it is because I wasn't willing to pay crazy amounts of money for it during the pandemic. It was one of those Hoyas that was like being sold for hundreds of dollars, and I was just not willing to do it. But when she offered me this cutting, I was like, yes please. Have you seen how... Anyway, sorry, that was my water alarm. Have you seen how beautifully purple sun-stressed this Hoya is? It's absolutely stunning, and I'm really excited to see it grow. I really can't wait to have a big full pot of this. And then this other cutting I got is actually from Rick. It's a cutting of a Hoya INFLATA. It's absolutely stunning, and the leaves actually look like a Hoya MEGALANTHA, except it's a way thicker leaf. It's actually fuzzy, but the shape of the leaf feels very similar to MEGALANTHA, and it has very unique blooms. They kind of look like a little ball. I'll post a picture of the bloom so you can see it. But this is my new Hoya INFLATA. Again, it's a little tiny cutting, but I'm very excited. I actually prefer to start Hoyas from small cuttings because that way I can actually see it grow and just like enjoy the whole process. I really haven't gotten, I want to say only 25% of my collection started as full plants. Most of my collection has started as small cuttings, or like one node rooted Hoyas. It's just the way I prefer to do it. I don't know why. I kind of just, actually I do know why. I get a thrill out of seeing the Hoya grow. And then this Hoya I saw for the very first time when Rick and I did the sale at Christine's. He was selling a few of these, and at the time I talked myself out of getting it because I was convinced that I was just going to be good and I wasn't going to add any more Hoyas. To be fair, we had a few cold fronts last month, and so I was kind of like traumatized at that point, and I didn't want to add more. But I kept thinking about it, and I kept thinking about it, and then when I saw he had it at the plant sale today, I just had to have it. It's a Hoya MA-07. It's absolutely stunning. As you can see, it has beautiful leaves and just a beautiful sun-stressed, like maroon purple colored margin. They're super dark. I mean, the margin on the leaves is super dark. It's also pretty splashy, and it's just absolutely stunning. I have no idea what the blooms will look like, so I'll have to look into the Hoya. The first time I saw it was at Rick's sale last month, so I'm really just looking forward to seeing what this Hoya will look like once it blooms, and I'm just looking forward to getting it to get really big, really big, because it's absolutely stunning. So really excited for those. But that's it. That's everything I got at the sale today. Even though I told myself I wasn't going to get anything else, I still did pretty good. It was only one plant and then 2 cuttings, so like that hardly counts. But with that, I'm going to show you a few plants for my collection, and then I'm going to show you one non-Hoya weird plant, as I promised I would on these videos. So I hope you like them. So the first one that I'm going to show you is a Hoya Megalantha, mostly because I want you to be able to compare it to the INFLATA I just got. I know I showed you guys the Megalantha a while ago, but I just wanted to show it to you now again because it's growing this new leaf and it's just absolutely stunning. It looks really, really red, like an orangey red, and it's just absolutely stunning. But I want to put it next to this. Hopefully I can do that. Actually, I'm just going to stick the cutting in the pot. Maybe not. Okay, that should work. Hopefully it focuses. I think the only difference between the Megalantha and the INFLATA leaves is the shape is the same, pretty much, but this one is thicker and it's actually fuzzy. It's not bendy like this one, and I have no idea what the leaves are going to look like when they are fresh and newly open, but I'm definitely looking forward to growing it, and I'm really excited to hopefully get my Megalantha to grow or to bloom in 2023. I'm really going to try to focus on that this year. I know I've said that a bazillion times already, but I'm really going to try. The next one that I want to show you is a Hoya Early Frost. I also got this one from Rick. You can clearly see why it's called Early Frost. It has like silver speckles on the leaves, like it literally looks like snow on the leaves. And honestly, I think that's why I was named that, but it's absolutely stunning, and I'm really excited to see it grow. As you can see, it already has 2 peduncles, so hopefully I'll be able to get it to bloom this year if I kind of stick to fertilizing it as I probably should. So just keep an eye out for my Hoya blooms this year. But no, this one was I recently got this one and I just transferred it to terracotta. It was fully rooted in my little 3-ounce cups, to the point where it was pretty much root bound. Once I saw that, I transferred it to terracotta, and then I took it out of my my grow lights and I brought it out into the porch, but I keep it in a grow bin for at least a couple of weeks before I put it back out on the before I put it out on the shelves, just because Florida weather is not very forgiving. It's very bipolar, so I really don't want it to suffer transplant shock. So when I repotted it from the little cup into this cup, or into this terracotta pot, I watered it with Super Thrive, and then I put it in the grow bin, and it's staying out here in the porch in the grow bin for at least a couple of weeks before it goes out here. I did a whole video on how I acclimate and repot new propagations. I'm not sure which episode it was, but I'll link it in the description so that you guys can go back and reference that if you need some help. But yeah, very much looking forward to seeing this Hoya bloom for me this year. The next one that I want to show you is, I am going to try to pronounce this, but it's a very confusing name because it's Hoya SP Surigao del Sur. So like part of the name is in Spanish, but I have no idea what Surigao means. The rest of it just means it's from the south, but I don't know where or what Surigao is, but hopefully I said that right. The Hoya already has a peduncle, so I'm crossing my fingers that it'll bloom for me this year. I really love the way that this Hoya grows. The internodes are very close together, and I just really enjoy the growth pattern of the Hoya. It reminds me of a Hoya Fitchii and how shiny and veiny the leaves are. I really enjoy this type of leaf. Fitchii was one of the first Hoyas I became obsessed with. So it's no wonder I really liked this one when I saw it. I also got it from Rick. I got it from Rick like 2 or 3 months ago, and I'm really looking forward to hopefully getting this one to bloom this year. I'm really going to try to focus on getting them to bloom. I should do a better job of fertilizing my Hoyas anyways, and so I'm really going to try to stay consistent with fertilizing them every couple of weeks in 2023, and hopefully that renders some results. The last Hoya I'm going to show you is actually a Hoya I've had for quite a long time. It was one of the first Hoyas I ever added to my Hoya collection, and it's my Hoya Noelle. It's actually really big. Well, it used to be really big, but I've cut it a few times. I've propagated it for friends and for plant sales. And now this is my Noelle. Well, the reason I wanted to show it to you today is not only because it has this big, giant, beautiful leaf, but it's because it's starting to sun stress. Look at how gorgeous this leaf looks. I think it's the cold that's making it sun stress this way, because I have not changed the location of where it is. It has been in the same exact spot for months, probably over a year, and it had never sun stressed for me. So I think it's really enjoying the cold weather, and I'm really looking forward to hopefully getting the rest of the Hoya to sun stress like this one leaf. And I'm just really enjoying how red the leaf is, and how, because the veins stay like this limey green color even though the rest of the leaf is red. So I'm just really looking forward to hopefully getting the whole Hoya to sun stress, and again, hopefully bloom for me this year. So now that I showed you all the Hoyas I wanted to show you today, I'm gonna show you one non-Hoya weird plant. It's probably not very weird, more just different than what you're used to. Probably a lot of you that collect Hoyas have had an interest in orchids in the past, or maybe just really loved the blooms but felt intimidated by growing orchids. I know that's how I felt for a very long time. I grew up with orchids in Cuba. We had cattleyas like everywhere, just very basic colors like white and purple and pink, and you know, the more common colors of cattleya, but regardless, they were everywhere in Cuba, and I always loved them. My mom and my grandma and my aunts always had cattleyas, and when I was younger, I tried growing orchids, but I was not very good at it. I murdered so many phalaenopsis until I eventually got to the point where I realized I was not going to be able to grow them. So I would buy them, keep them until the blooms died, and then I would give them to my mom, and she would grow them in her yard. Eventually, obviously, I've developed an obsession with collecting plants, and I've learned a lot more than I did when I was like 20, 21, and just killing phalaenopsis left and right. And so I've slowly but surely started trying my hand at orchids. I've learned a lot from a few of my friends that have a lot of orchids. Like Rick has a ton of orchids in his yard. It's one of my favorite things to just notice when I go to his yard. It's just the orchids are always blooming, especially his cattleyas. But my friend Irina also has a lot of orchids. Her Instagram is full of just beautiful orchids. And my friend Emmanuel also has the most beautiful orchid collection. He has this big tree in his yard, and I'm so envious of his orchid collection, because that's how I want to be able to grow orchids one day, is just hanging from a tree and allowing them to attach to a tree, like a mango tree, I don't know, a beautiful tree full of orchids. So I've learned a lot from my friends, and just doing internet research, like watching YouTube videos on how to grow different types of orchids, because clearly they all have different needs. A phalaenopsis and a cattleya have completely different needs from a vanda orchid, for example. So I've tried to slowly try my hand with orchids, and I eventually developed the confidence to get this orchid that I've been wanting for a long time. I first saw it on my friend Irina's Instagram, and I just became obsessed with it because it's so unusual. I had never seen such a beautiful, weird orchid before, and I immediately added it to my wish list. So when I saw it locally at Artstone, is a local orchid vendor that we have here in St. Pete, I happened to just randomly see it there one day, and I was like, oh my god, I have to have this. Like, I really want this orchid. I'm gonna try so hard to not kill it. And somehow, some way, I have managed to keep this orchid alive for the past 6 months, and I managed to get it to bloom. So without further ado, here is my orchid, RLC Gulf Green Hairy Pig. I know, it's so weird. First of all, whoops, that's my Noelle going down. Alright, well, she'll live. Anyways, so first thing I like about this orchid is how unusual the petals are. Obviously they're super hairy and just really, really, really soft. I always talk about how I touch the leaves, and if you're not touching your plant leaves then you're doing something wrong. Well, I do the same thing with blooms. Like, I just can't help myself. I know I probably shouldn't do it, but I freaking love touching blooms. And this one just feels really nice. I really like touching the tips of the little like hairy petals, and that's probably why it's called hairy pig. I mean, obviously it's hairy, but it's also green. It's not white, it's not yellow, it's green, and it smells amazing. I have it right outside of my porch, like right as you walk out of my porch. So you open the door, the first thing you see is this orchid, and the smell, just the fragrance of this orchid just slaps you in the face as soon as you walk out into the porch. It's got like a, I can't describe it. It's like somewhere between jasmine, gardenia, like tuberose, like violet. I don't know. It smells incredible. It's got a hint of citrusy something, like, I don't know, but it's absolutely amazing. It's obviously beautiful, and I'm just so happy that I've been able to not only keep it alive, but did something right to get it to bloom. Even though I repotted it a couple months ago and I was warned that cattleyas don't like being repotted, I felt like I had to, and I did, and I guess it rewarded me with a bloom. I feel really proud of this bloom, and obviously I can't take full credit because I bought it as a big giant plant, but whatever. It boosted my confidence, and now I feel like I am a Hoya, not a Hoya, an orchid pro, and I'm just gonna buy all the orchids. No, I really shouldn't do that. But for now, I'm just gonna really enjoy this. Hopefully it lasts a few more days. It's already been open for like 5 days, and it does not show any signs of withering. So hopefully it stays open for a few more days. But yeah, here is my Orchid RLC Gulf Green Hairy Pig. And with that, I hope you enjoyed this week's video. I will be back hopefully next weekend with a new video. I have no idea what it is I'm going to talk about. I usually don't know what I'm going to discuss until right before I go to shoot the video. But yeah, I'm going to make an effort to definitely upload another video next week. And hopefully you enjoyed this week's video. Thank you.